Hello and welcome to Jubilee Automotive. Now, before you choose your next wheelchair accessible vehicle, it's important to make sure that the measurements are right. So you want to make sure that the wheelchair user and the wheelchair fit comfortably and safely. So in this video, we're just going to show you how to take a few measurements to make sure we get it right. So we'll start with the wheelchair. You're going to see the flat surface and a measuring tape. So first of all, we'll look at the width. What you want to be measuring is the widest point of the chair, which is usually from the outer wheels on both sides. However, sometimes you can have some additional equipment to electric power chairs, such as hand controls and remote controls for the power wheelchairs. So we also need to be aware of those as well. So this is where you want your tape to be, just on the outside of the outside wheels on both sides. So next we'll look at the length of the wheelchair. So what you want to do here to make sure you get an accurate measurement again is if you move the wheelchair to a wall, so you can push the wheelchair against the wall and then measure from the wall to the end of the wheelchair itself. Also, you have to bear in mind is with the footrests, if the wheelchair user's feet are slightly above the footrest, you want to make sure you get those measurements in as well, so you can be as accurate as possible. So when we're measuring the chair, move the tape right up against the wall. Bring the tape out so you want it just in front of the footrests. And you can see obviously from the measurements of the footrests. Also, again, as mentioned, if the wheelchair user's feet are slightly over, you want to get those in the measurements as well. So the next important measurement is the seated height of the wheelchair user. It's all very well the width and the length being fine, but if the wheelchair user can't physically fit inside the vehicle, then it makes it sort of big points really. So to get those height right, you want to be measuring from the seated height of the wheelchair user. You also want to make sure the wheelchair user is in the natural posture really well, just to make sure that you've got a natural measurement and natural seating position. To measure, it's just a simple basis from the top of the head right down to the floor. If you're struggling for any reason, you can use guides to help you out. You can use just things such as a book, placing a book on top of the wheelchair user's head and measuring from the back of the book all the way down to the floor to give you a bit more of an accurate reading also. So once we have those three important measurements and you've selected a vehicle on our website, we can check those measurements against the wheelchair conversion. So whether that may be a lowered floor ramp or chairlift, we can check the width of the chair to make sure the chair will go up the ramp or fit onto the chairlift. We can check the wheelchair user's height to make sure the wheelchair user can get through the aperture of the rear or the side entry vehicles. And we can also check the length as well to make sure the wheelchair and the wheelchair user is fitted safely and comfortably for every journey. Thanks very much for watching the video. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to give us a call on 0121 502 2252 and any of our WAV specialists will be happy to help. Thanks again and hopefully speak to you soon.